I. I is not able to talk. Okay, so host is not allowing me to unmute. Oh my goodness. All right, so we'll try and fix this. Okay, in the
Hello.
meantime, yes.
Oh, I've asked that he unmute himself.
All
So,
right.
Prof, please kindly unmute. You can.
Unmute or open. Oh no. Okay. So Tony, then as the vice chair for okay, Prof is on now.
Okay, now, yeah, I think. Okay, now, yeah. Okay, now, yes. The challenges are so huge. I don't know. Okay. Please, I would like to do a share presentation, but I'm having challenges. I can only use my phone now. I'm having my phone now. I'm having my phone now. Okay.
Prof, kindly share with me so I would share for you. So whilst you are at it, Bluetooth hand is raised. Bluetooth, can I hear you?
Hello. Hello.
Yes, please, we can hear you.
No, sorry. I think I was struggling to join.
Oh,
So,
right.
not in order not to be too fast, I just want to be sure. Since you say our business, is it the time for the business and for discussions? Because I didn't see the agenda.
Right. Okay, so the agenda is actually not, it wasn't projected, but I can read that out quickly. It's a six-item agenda. We have the opening prayer, brief introductions, which we have done so far, purpose of the meeting by the chair of Gand, nutrition group Gand, then the way forward and then question answer. That is the agenda for the
So, are we
evening.
on the questions and answers?
No, we are on purpose and then the presentation by the Gand, the nutrition chair.
Okay, so I will hold my breath when you because I have something to discuss. So let me hold on.
All right, thank you very much for understanding. Okay. Please, I actually apologize for these hitches. Do bear with us, okay? We are working to get us rolling on as soon as possible.
Oh gosh. Yeah, hello.
Yes, Prof, we can hear you.
Please, Felicia, I've sent the listen. Have you received it? I've sent
Okay, so
the
let me
presentation.
quickly do that. Please, is it by mail or chat?
Yeah, by email.
Okay, then.
Okay. All right, I think I can speak. I can speak.
Prof,
Yes.
kindly
Hello.
mute your second device so that the feedback will stop coming.
Yes, in fact, yes, there's feedback. I've even closed that one down so that I can, once Felicia is going to share this,
Okay.
I think I will be okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much. Sorry about all this. Born before computer people, that's what happened. Yeah, good evening to all those on the platform currently. I want to say good evening, all my colleagues, previous Gand board members, current Gand board members, and as well as all members and participants who are online. I'm very grateful for this moment. It's a very auspicious moment for us. As of course, we are not an isolated group, or we are not existing in isolation, but this has become expedient because we want to see how best we can, even though separately, encourage ourselves. Looking ahead, we can also forge a unity that will bring us into a certain position. And that is why we are here this evening. It's a very, very important moment that we have to gather online. It's rather unfortunate. I mean, this would have been very, very eventful if we had to do a face-to-face meeting and see each other and talk to each other and interact. But however, I think this is also another alternative way of bringing ourselves together and galvanizing ourselves so that we can make that progress that we all desire. In fact, it is something that the current Gand board has envisaged to put the Gand further on the map. Let me put it that way, on the map. From where the previous, when we took office, we came together and we looked at how to propel the whole group together to push it ahead. And with the vision from our president and all of us coming on board, we agreed, or we came to that point where we saw that there was a need to see how best we can put things together so that by the end of our term, we would have achieved a lot for this very important August group. I have always maintained that we are a group that are like two faces of a coin. It's just that we have to, like I said earlier, look at things from the different sides of the coin, and then later on, because we are joined together, put ourselves together and then make the necessary progress. Now, in our Gand board meeting, the initial stages, the vision or the running what do you call it, goal for the board, which was based on a vision, which I think the president expatiated for the rest of us to buy in. I believe that before I even go further with the vision, I will say there's a quote in the scriptures, which of course I know may be in the Quran as well, who says that for lack of, it's in Proverbs, is it 29 or so? It's for lack of vision, my people perish. And so we have a vision, the vision that was espoused to us by our president, which has to do with how we can, within the next 3 years and beyond, how we can put Gand in the rightful place, can bring Gand to that point where we all want it to be. I know it's not going to be easy. It's a huge task. It's a Herculean one, but we are going to do our best together. It's not each and everyone will play our part, but all of us together will put in our efforts wherever we are so that we can get to that point where we want to be. In espousing the vision, he hammered on 5 P's, what they call the 5 P's. In fact, I'm just going to highlight the 5 P's briefly. I'm not going to go into the details of it because I'm sure those who had opportunity to be in the first CPD, where the president had to, talk about these things again, and talks about the need for us to have a strategic planning and all that. I think he also touched on these 5 P's. Very, very critical. For me, I think it says it all. The first one, and of course, it was put in different orders, or it can be put in different orders. But for me, I believe the first one is very critical. And the first one has to do with populating Gand. It has to do with populating Gand. That means we want the membership to rise from the current levels or the current numbers that we have to the numbers that we think we can attain, because we are really a large group. We are really a large group, and I'm sure we'll talk about this. We are really a very large group. The two groups, the two professions together, we are a very large group. Unfortunately, when you look at those who are in good standing in Gand presently, we are just very few. We are not many. And unfortunately, even it is lower for us who are the nutritionists, even though we happen to be the largest in terms of those who have been trained or those who are out there in the system. So we'll talk about this and see what the problem is all about and how we can, do our bit here and there so that we will bring people on board. So the populating is critical. Then the next one is how to position ourselves. We are going to position Gand. The Gand board is going to see to it that Gand is positioned in a state where we can make the inroads that we want to make. If we are not positioned well, we are not formidable, we are not of prestige, we don't place ourselves in a way that people will give us that respect, we will not be able to make that inroads that we want to make. So with positioning, we need to ensure that we bring things together, we put things in place so that we can have that, niche. We can create that niche where we want to be. Gand has to have a niche in the health fraternity. We need to have our niche and position so that whenever it has to do with anything with nutrition and dietetics, our Gand will be the place to come to. And that is one of the vision of the Gand board. We are going to see to that. The next was to prosper Gand. Prospering Gand had a lot of ramifications. And I believe that when they say prospering, we all know we all want to prosper. Everybody wants to prosper, and so does Gand. Gand also wants to prosper. But I think prospering has to do with how we can move on and achieve our aims and our goals, so that we get to a point where we can now be satisfied with or we can get to a point where we can say we are getting to the point of satisfaction. Prospering has to do with somehow becoming, you can put it as becoming rich, but not necessarily super rich. But if you are able to get employment, for instance, it's easy to get employment, it's easy to get work, it's easy for you to be recognized in a certain setting where you can function as a professional with dignity, that is also an indication of prosperity. And if Gand is well placed, you can imagine how we will function with that kind of attitude, and then we can see the prosperity which is going to come out of it. There are so many things that comes with it, and I'm sure the presentation which will come on is showing that. I'm just trying to summarize it. Apart from that, the first three that I've mentioned, there are two others which talks about permeating the, first of all, let me talk about, apart from prospering, the next is to position ourselves, okay? To position. So we need to position ourselves, and that has to do with what I mentioned earlier. To prosper ourselves, we need to position, to populate, we need to population will help us to also see how we can position ourselves. So you see, all the P's are linked. Positioning ourselves means we have to find ourselves in the right place where we belong. There are a lot of companies where nutrition is supposed to be. Nutrition is not supposed to be domiciled only in the Ghana Health Service or Ministry of Health. There are so many things that constitute health, and nutrition is very vital. It's very important for those areas, and so it stands to reason that nutrition, and when I say nutrition, please let me emphasize, I'm not talking about just human nutritionists or nutritionists. I'm talking about the whole fraternity of nutritionists, nutrition professionals, and dietetic professionals. I like to call them as, human nutritionists, or nutritionists, whatever you want to say. But the two together are all nutritionists, can be described as nutritionists. Except that when we talk about the profession, they would like to like to dichotomize it and make it look like we are different. We are not. So we can place ourselves in all these areas, industry. In fact, the Food and Drug Authority, for instance, they need us a lot. They need nutritionists and dietitians within that fraternity, because most of the things that are happening, that are bringing about the problems that we have to solve, are coming from lack of regulation and so on and so forth. And we need to be there to also help and guide. So we need ourselves to be there. There are other companies, big companies, apart from industry, there are areas. And for instance, as we are now trying to forge a kind of understanding memorandum with the Caterers Association, catering. In fact, it is an assumption that caterers are nutritionists, but it is not so. When we talk nutrition, they may have some idea of what nutrition is, but they are not wholly nutritionists. And we need nutritionists and dietitians in that field to monitor and to direct and to give direction to what constitute proper nutrition, and that will lead to the good health of the population. So we need to position ourselves in all these areas, and that will be very important. Apart from, of course, positioning ourselves within the international arena, where we have IUNS and is it IACP or IACD? I'm forgetting. I'm sorry for our dietetic brothers. There's also this fraternity that we need to ensure that we are there, we are together, IUNS and all that. Then we also need to ensure that we go into all these areas that we are talking about. And so the P's come together, the P's, 5 P's. And when that is expatiated, I'm sure it makes clarity. Hey, it brings clarity to what we are doing. Now, having said that, there are ways and means by which we can ensure that our professional bodies, including nutritionists and dietitians, are brought up to the speed where we can now begin to reap the fruits, or begin to see the accomplishment of the vision that has been espoused, or that has been expatiated. And most of it has to do with trying to building the capacity of professionals, nutrition professionals. We need to build our capacity, and there's a lot of things that have been outlined to help build our capacity, one of which is the organization of CPDs, and this particular one is a CPD, which is in line with bringing professionals up to speed. In this particular instance, it's probably geared towards nutrition professionals. I think the dietitians had theirs last week. But you can see that as we go further, there are occasions to have the two groups together to persevere or to listen and learn, to build their own capacity, to learn, to have knowledge and all that. We have to build ourselves. We don't have to be stagnant. And so that is one of the roles of the GB to ensure that we meet that target, what we are trying. We then a creation of an enabling environment, an environment where professionals can thrive. We have to create the policy environment, the infrastructural environment, and so on and so forth. Now, as just before I even go further, there's something that nearly escaped my mind. It was about prospering. When we want to prosper as a group, we all know that money is very important. Money is important, but we need money from our group. We need to ensure that we are putting up with all the monies that we need to bring together so that we can build a sort of a formidable Gand. In that instance, the vision was to also acquire property, landed property, for instance, where we can also expand the nutrition, environment. In other words, we want to create something like a nutrition village where everything that has to do with every occasion or every function that may be around nutrition can be located there, just as some other associations have their own headquarters and so on. We don't have any. For us, we are hiding in places where, of course, temporary and so on and so forth. We need a more permanent place, and that ensures and means that we need to gather our own selves, gather from ourselves, fund ourselves, and get to that level. And so it's all part of the process by which we can prosper. Gand will prosper. And it almost escaped me. That also creates that enabling environment. If you are in an association which is prospering, you are enabled. If you are going to talk anywhere or going to speak on anything anywhere, you know you can stand firm, you can stand and point and beat your chest because you know where you are coming from. I mean, it's not about boasting, but it's about knowing what you value, the value of what you have. And that is what the current Gand board want to create. Want to create all these things. And I'm sure even with what I've said, a lot of members out there will have more suggestions, more additions, and so on, so that we can move ahead with the very laudable vision of the Gand board. I may have left out a few things, but these are some of the lofty ideas that we are trying to envisage. And we're coming together right now to begin the process. The process is to look at how we can go about it, doing all these things, helping each other, one another, building each other up, and so on, so that we can make that progress. So it's about, work in progress. It's all about work in progress. Whatever we are going to do now till the time we come out of office and beyond, we hope that it will be a process that will move Gand. It will be a forward march process. That is all we are looking for. And let's build ourselves. And I believe that when it's time for us to come out, to lay down our mantle and give it to the next group of people, at least would have made Gand very proud. Would have come to that point where we can say, yes, we have also done something and we have handed the baton over. When you hand a baton to some people and we know that you have made that necessary move or gain, you are happy. At least you know that the person is going to run a similar leg and achieve something for which the collective, inures to the collective good. And so that is why we are here today, to look at how we can get all these things done and many more, so that Gand will become a very important academy or association, if you want to put it that way, so that everybody will be referring to us. You all know how, nutrition has become a household thing, and everybody, anywhere, like they say, everybody anywhere is the nutritionist. they will talk nutrition as if it was nobody's business. Because once they can eat and they enjoy and have taste buds and so on, that for a lot of people that is nutrition. But we know better. We know that that is not it. And so we need to bring our heads together. The numerous problems that we are facing, which are nutritional, by the way, sometimes I shudder to think how we even see them, because people are seeing it differently. Even infections and non-communicable diseases and so on are all nutrition related. They come from poor nutrition. If you are poorly nourished, your immune system is down, you get easily infected. And you can get these non-communicable disease easily because of your poor nutrition and all the things that get into your system. They beat your immune system, and that's it, inflammation and all those things. So nutrition is just key. Nutrition, and when I say nutrition, please, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about nutrition. For all of us, both dietitians and nutritionists, we know all we are doing constitutes nutrition. And we need to put our heads together. We need to come together. The way forward is for us to work together, not as two different separate groups, not being being satisfied with where you are, then the small corner that you are in, and then trying to say that no, that is yours, and guarding it jealously, which is important though. But you should also know that you have brethren out there who you can work together. We need to be together in all our forward march, not dividing ourselves. And that is why I'm here. I'm here to be a unifying force between us. And whilst we are going forward in our own strides as a profession, as a nutrition professional group, we are striding and along with our brethren who are on the other side of the divide and moving the whole Gand forward, so that Gand will be more formidable, a solid, group fraternity. So at this juncture, I think I'll end. If there are any questions or any suggestions or comments or recommendations from the group, so that it won't be like one person is doing all the talking, I can rest my case here, and then maybe we'll have some time to do a discourse or a discussion of all the issues that have been raised. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. I, Chair of the Nutrition Group of the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, Gand. You have heard it. It's the vision that we populate Gand, we prosper Gand, we pioneer and collaborate with others, and we permeate into new territories. And so the ball has been set. We are now moving into the way forward. What do we do? Based on all that Prof. Ayi has said, and also from where you sit, how can we achieve this? How can we move ahead as a body that has a huge task to accomplish for the betterment of Ghana? And collectively, we can do it, but individually, we cannot. So the floor is opened. If you would want to make a submission, please raise your hand. I'll give you the opportunity. And if you are on the floor, please make it snappy so that many of us can also speak and make their contributions, so that we can get the rich ideas from a lot more of us. I want to thank you very much for understanding. So the first person I can see whose hand is raised is Zaid Haruna. Zaid, please, you have the floor. Please unmute and speak, Zaid. Okay. Zaid is having challenges. I would move to the next person. When he comes on, then I'll give him the opportunity. Abdul Lutuf, please. Lutuf, you have the floor.
Hello, Prisha. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
So I think the host has to help us a bit. When you try to unmute, it tells you the host is not allowing you. I think that's what this guy just typed. So once again, thank you so much for calling for this meeting, and then thanks to Prof. I think that it's good we are starting this, but for every profession, to keep the profession at high quality and for us to better perform as professionals, there are two things. I usually say first is our capacity, and the capacity comes from training, and then maybe basically the training, and then the way we practice will also reflect on us as professionals. Our profession is regulated by Allied Health Professionals Council. They use us to work with them to review curricula when universities and other institutions submit it. But I feel that, this our new momentum or trying to engage and improve. One of the key people we should target in this is the Allied Health Professionals Council. I feel as professionals, we have left them to just play the game the way they want. And we need to start doing a lot of advocacy targeting the council. Just to be brief, I have personally extremely concerned about the number of institutions that are running nutrition programs. You can't stop people from training, but from the professional side, Allied Health need to start checking that. Else, what happens is that it just becomes one of those things. So we really need, one of the key things we should be doing is engaging them. What is their plan? What kind of HR, whatever, are they having from the Ministry of Health? That if tomorrow I want to introduce nutrition in my institution, approve. The next day, there's no point they will say, oh, okay, the number we have and looking at the output, maybe we need to hold on so that when you come as a new person, they'll say, no, we look at the market and it's like this. So this is one area we need to look at. Just to stop here, the summary is that we need to look at our engagement with the council and how we use that to protect the quality of training, quality of practice, and possibly, if the evidence is there, look at the numbers. So let me just stop here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Lutu, for that submission. I'll move to Zaid. Zaid, are you able to unmute now? Pearl, can you assist me to help our participants unmute, please? Okay, so I can't see any more hands. I don't know if that is to suggest that is all we have for the discussion phase. Okay.
Okay.
Anthony.
Okay. Well, hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Zai, I can hear you now.
I wanted to say something, but let Zai speak, then I'll come in.
All right, Prof. So I'll come to you, Prof, after Anthony speaks. So please keep your point so you don't forget. So Zai,
Okay.
you go if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, please, we can hear you.
Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
And then thank you very much for organizing this wonderful session. I think that this has been long overdue, and when we get these opportunities, we need to discuss and look at the issues passionately, and then get it sink down to all of us. And I like the part, one of the P's that indicated positioning. Positioning has been our key challenge as nutritionists in the country. Entering the program, I got the first understanding that nutrition stems from right from the field or the farm to digestion and utilization. But if you observe our current nutritional professional group at now, we are only focused on at the curative end or the management end, that is with Ghana Health Service and working with the health sector. But what we seem to forget is that Many of our advices or the counseling we give to our clients or our populace is for them to use certain diets or foods to manage their disease conditions or to help prevent certain disease conditions. And what we are also failing to understand is that we have left the production of those foods to a different category of people who have little or no understanding on what the nutritional requirement is. It is said that if you want to control the narrative or the mindset of the people, change how the food they eat. Now, if we want to solve nutritional problems, we need to first target the type of food that is being produced for our people to consume. How many of us have thought of going down or decentralizing nutrition to the farm gate level? There is this renowned body in Ghana that is regulating the type of food or type of seed that is being produced. There you go, there you find only AES. As of last year, I'm reliably informed they didn't even have, they had about thousands of slots to recruit people, and they didn't have people to fill there. So they had to fall on veterinarians to fill that space. And that is, I'm talking about the Plant Protection and Regulatory Service Department. They are in charge of certifying seeds. So imagine if we have nutritionists occupying there and we are focusing on nutrition-sensitive seeds to be produced to feed the country. What kind of nutritional problem can't we solve? Now, our recent paper that was just published a week ago indicated, that was on microplastics, indicated that we were getting close to 90% of our fish in most of our, in the Gulf of Guinea having microplastics in their bellies and in their gills. So even the fish that we are consuming or advising our people to consume is not also safe. What are we doing as nutritionists to look at that direction? All this I'm trying to point out is that we shouldn't limit our field of work to only just a Ghana Health Service or any areas or NGOs that are related to health. We can go beyond the health spectrum and then help improve nutrition. Let's put our focus on at the farm gate, help bring out nutrition-sensitive foods that will solve most of our problems. Let's focus on the regulatory sector, how to ensure that the policies that are being made reflect the dietary needs or the nutritional needs of our people. So until we begin thinking outside that direction, we will continue to limit ourselves and be fighting for limited position with the Ministry of Health. Nutrition doesn't only lie with the Ministry of Health. It is far, far, far above the Ministry of Health. We can go far and beyond. So let's start opening the discussion and target these areas. So I'll rest for now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Zaid. Wonderful there. Nutrition doesn't lie only with the health. It goes beyond that. So, Anthony, you would come before Prof. Prepo comes. I saw your hand up first.
No, maybe I just let me react to something before they bring in their issues. I mean, just to react to the first two people who have given very, very wonderful remarks or presentations.
Prof, I'm giving you just 40 seconds to react.
Just a minute. Just a minute. I think maybe I alluded to the things they are talking about. I didn't expand. I didn't go into further details. When I was talking about positioning, I made mention of the fact that we belong to, we can expand ourselves into Food and Drugs Authority, MOFA, other, even the manufacturing companies and so on and so forth, where we find nutrition. I think is well articulated from what they are talking about, but we need to go further. But beyond all that, I think we need to have the bulk of us in the academy. We are talking about populating the academy. If we are not all there and we cannot see ourselves together and sing one song, and somebody, if we leave the way things are happening, and somebody is singing one thing, the another is singing another tune, a different tune, and so on, we will not be focused. So that is, for me, very important. The first thing I mentioned was population, and that is what we should. I think I will need to hear something from the audience or the members on how we can populate. It's very, very important. The Gand. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof. Today there you've tried. Tony, please.
Okay, so I think I was actually going to speak on what Prof just said. I mean, our numbers are great, and we have to be together to be able to do the things we are discussing here. So my question will be, what are the challenges in we not joining GAN, or how can we populate GAN with our numbers that we have in Ghana? If we, there's strength in numbers. If we don't have the numbers and we're even talking, I mean, it's difficult for people to hear us. But if we are all together, and then we talk with one voice, we can move mountains. So my question still goes, as Prof said, how can we populate Ghana? What is happening that the nutritionists are many in Ghana, but when you take the roll call of those who have registered are in good standing, the dietitians are leading us. That is what I want us to look at. Over.
All right, thank you very much, Tony. You can lower your hand now. Prof. Preko, please, you have the floor. Please assist to get Prof to unmute. Pearl. Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good evening again, and thank you very much. I think very important issues are being discussed, and I will just take it from where Zaid left off, and then I'll touch on the last aspect that the other colleague also spoke about. It is important for us to know that, I mean, I find it so sad that most of our struggles in Ghana actually has been stalled by us nutritionists. If I say so, I'm just being blunt. From the beginning and onset of Ghana, the huge resistance we've had come from no other group than nutritionists within the Ghana fraternity. And all because most of the things that people were fighting for is how they can progress or their conditions as far as they being in the Ghana Health Service is concerned. And that is a very narrow view or very narrow-mindedness if you want to look at nutrition in that space. And unfortunately, we have given that space up. Our main areas that we should be seen to be professionally practicing has been narrowed to Ghana Health Service, which is very, very sad. I keep pushing the fact that we should push to the point where Gand can even stand alone as a whole professional, whatever, that looks at bigger things in the space of nutrition. If Ghana would not give us a council for nutrition or even give us a commission on nutrition or something like that, this is the platform we can start for. And the way we can do that is when we are together as a people. We can do many things. And the history of nutrition in Ghana somehow lost its hold because we tried to kind of medicalize nutrition. But nutrition is broader in perspective, in areas of health, in areas of development, in areas of economy, in many other spaces. What I think that we need to do when you talk about positioning is to look at all the trajectories of food and what it does, and ensure that we push for spaces, directorates, and whatever within various units that are supposed to project things of nutrition. When you take even, for example, the Agric Ministry of Agric, do they have, I know the position Auntie Paulina occupies, it has something to do with nutrition in a way, but do they have a kind of a unit for nutrition specifically? When you take ministry, local government, do they have a unit or something that is running issues or focus on issues of nutrition? These are things that we should be as a body, a professional body, be advocating for and ensuring that we get our spaces within the varied aspects of development where nutrition actually fits. In the Ghana Health Service, in the Allied Health Council, when recently they were developing the scope of whatever practice or whatever it is, and there was a division to put nutrition either as public health or as a clinical. We argue that nutrition is a form of profession that should stand out upright. But unfortunately, some of our own nutrition people weren't arguing that it should be placed under public health and whatnot, which I just didn't, and I just didn't see where these kind of things were coming from. If we are just to narrowly look at where we fit ourselves, we will always have problems. It is important we take a broader look at it. It comes back also to some of the decisions that we met some time ago to look at in terms of professional progress and all that they were proposing Doctor of Nutrition and that kind of thing program. Now, I don't know whether we've heard about some of the policies that government is expanding at the moment, that it's not pushing for, the GTEC is not pushing for establishment or trainings of doctor of those various sciences, allied sciences, to come up with doctor of so programs. These are things that we need to look at, because one of the arguments I advanced was that, look, you can't tell me that somebody who had gone through BSc nutrition, masters of MPhil in nutrition or whatever in nutrition, cannot be a director of something because he didn't do doctor of nutrition or something like that. And I said, this is where our convergence comes in, and we need to fight for it. That whoever has advanced himself in terms of both training and as well as experience of service should have the opportunity to be the Director General of Ghana, Ghana Health Service or whatever it is. It should be. And this kind of divisions should not come up. But we can only do that when we are together and we are fighting. And it's something that we need to look beyond the space of just health and where nutrition fits in expanding our scope and pushing for ensuring that we have the right positions that really fits us within the different spaces that are there for us to occupy. On the aspect of our membership development, I would say that it lies on all of us. One of the main purposes that we established the zonal groups was to ensure that at each zone, nutritionists that are working there, schools that are running nutrition, are spaces that we should be able to link up with. As a nutrition zone in Tamale, you should be able to inaugurate nutrition student associations across board. We should be able to see that within the zones, of course, the zone can just be in maybe Tamale, but within the northern zone, we have Upper East, Upper. How do we ensure that these zones at the respective places, districts, can have nutritionists that are working there come together to do something and to connect with the zonal team? It lies on all of us. And for us to understand who we are and where we want to fight to position ourselves, that we can drive this thing forward. Many times we have expanded and we have asked so much, and we keep fighting back. I don't understand why people are even fighting against Gand in one way or the other. We need to rise up. Even if we are 90 or 20 or 30, we can do much. And for me, that is where I think we should focus on those who are very, very committed and want to do something, and let's move with it. What is important is for us to advocate to ensure that our rightful places are given to us as nutritionists in this country. I rest my case. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Prof, for that submission. We are very grateful. I mean, a lot of things for us to chew on. At this point, I'll give our president, Reverend Prince Baidu, the opportunity to speak. And after he speaks, I would go to Lukman and then come back to Zaid. Okay, thank you very much. So, Press, Reverend, please, if you can hear me, kindly unmute and then let's hear from you. A minute.
Yes. Thank you very much, Felicia.
Thank you.
I want to salute Prof. Great presentation. And thank you very much, Prof. Eko, our former president. for the passion you still put in the development of Gand. So I think all the key issues have been raised. I heard Lutut, I heard Zaid, and the other. I've been reading the text as well, from the chat box. I think that our future is in our own hands, and we have to determine what we want to do with it. As I usually would tell Prof. Ayi that one of the things that gives me a lot of headaches is whenever I look at the list from Ally Health, that is having over 800 people licensed nutritionists, and I look at our list, and our list, the number of nutritionists there are below 200. Then I become worried. So all of us really, we know that when the nutritionists decide to come into Gand will be better off than we are now. And so I want to add my voice to the chair of nutrition and the former president to urge us to, as we are even talking, Felicia, if it's possible, let's put the Gand registration link online, that if there's any nutritionist on the call who hasn't registered, can do so right away. Even if you don't have, you can do until the payment of the dues, and you will get your Gand number. Then as and when your money is ready, you can pay the dues to complete the process. So I want to encourage us. Those of us who are not members, please register right now. I've seen the link on the chat. Please kindly go there right now and be a member. Just one more thing to add. We are looking forward to becoming at least 1,500 by the time, that's the members in good standing, by the time we are handing over in 2027. And I would want all of us to help us to achieve that. Also, we are going to launch a very our first phase of our fundraising very soon, and we are looking forward to raising at least 2 million Ghana cedis to get a land at a very important place where our nutrition village can be situated. And also, I was in a conference with the Vice President, Tony, and it was a research dissemination conference. And the references to food resources, handy measures, and standard sizes was reference to 1990 something. And even in practice, those documents are not tenable. We don't use them again. But that was the only document available to the researcher. So it is very important that as nutrition professionals, we get our nutrition standardized document. So our document for assessing some of the proximate analysis we have been working with since the 1970s from the food resource. Now we are having a lot of other variants of products and foods that have come. Are they still the same? Are the proximate values still the same as it is now? As the leading or the lead nutrition and dietetic mother body in Ghana, we must be interested in getting the most current standards that people from far and near can reference to. So it is a matter of it's a matter of urgency for us to be able to create our standards of practice, standards of the various food resources we have, and make them especially serving sizes. Serving sizes. We talk about serving sizes of the Mediterranean foods, the Western diet. All of them have been properly documented Right now, if you want to talk about the serving size of kenke in Ghana, there's no document that have been certified to say in Ghana, if you say a serving size of kenke, this is the size. And how do we even influence how the standards of the sizes and the recipes of the foods that we recommend to people? We tell people, oh, Ghana foods are healthy. How healthy are they? How sure are we? So it's a matter of urgency for us to be able to get our standards document intact. And when there's a committee in place already, and the initial budget that they are bringing doesn't look funny at all. Really, if we want to do it and do it well, even though we are doing it in collaboration with our own professors and academics in the various research centers, we still need to put in quite an amount of money to be able to get these standards out. So please, my appeal is that one, every day the land in the areas we can do our nutrition village, they are all going up. We really need to lock a land, secure it, get our title, and ensure that anytime we are ready to put on our nutrition village, especially our office complex, we are not going to struggle. At least our time when we are saying we contributed to Gand, when we have retired, we should be able to say that I put in this amount into Gand. I put in this amount and I am proud of it. When you are holding your grandchild and going to the nutrition village, you will see your name on the plaque, contributors to the Gand nutrition village. You see your name and your grandchildren will be proud of you. Please, let's push ourselves together. The time of, oh, let's get grants. In fact, we have delayed in this standardization process because we are pushing for grants, which we are hitting the walls here and there. At least we must put in something ourselves. Then we can stand on to tell others to come and help us. So I plead with all of us nutritionists, those who are on the call and those who listen to the recording from here. Please, when we launch the fundraising, do your best to push and contribute your quota as much as you can. And let's build Gand together. Remember, the future of Gand is still lurking in our hands. And whether we will squeeze it or furnish it or nourish it to grow better, it's in our hands. Thank you very much, Felicia, for the opportunity. Thank you very much, Prof. Ayi, for the opportunity. Over.
Thank you very much, President Reverend Prince Beidu, for that submission there. The future of Gand is in our hands. How much are we squeezing it? So, Lukman, please, you have the floor. Now I'm going to go by my 1 minute time allotment so we can move faster. Make your submission. Thank you very much. Lukman. So Lukman's microphone, I think he can't unmute. So please, Pearl, right.
Hi everyone. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, thanks to everyone. My name is Lukman, a nutritionist. I'm currently not in Ghana though, but I want to make a bit of contribution regarding I want to specifically talk about the populate part of Prof. Ayi's presentation. One thing I think we are missing has to do with how do we get in touch or capture food scientists who are basically nutritionists. There are other individuals who are equally nutritionists, but most concentration has been around the Ghana Health Service sector. I think that also counts as to why they are trying to push nutrition into public health. So let me just give a typical example from we could use that as maybe how do I even put it? Basically, other practices elsewhere, best practices elsewhere. Here in the UK, for example, there's a nutrition association, which has various specializations. So there's public health, there's food science, there's health and care, there's sports and exercise. All these tend to fall under nutrition. So how are we able to capture all these individuals under? And also, there are organizations who tend to recruit these individuals. Are we able to trace these organizations to figure out where our members are? And also, how are they being regulated? if someone is in the private sector, for example, no one is able to track where they are going, what they are doing, how their registration is. Actually, even in their recruitment, there wasn't anything that has to do with being registered with allied health profession. So such individual will not even need a CPD or will not even need any association to go along with their profession. So these are some of the loopholes we have to look up to. If not, we'll just be chasing the numbers and then the numbers will not be coming. The only people who join in is just going to be students, and then as soon as they are done with school, they get what they are done, they are looking for, everyone drops out. So we have to look at how to look at the bigger perspective rather than concentrating on Ghana Health Service and then those in academia.
Okay, thank you very much, Lukman. And so, Zaid, you have dropped. Does that mean you don't want to speak? Lutuf.
Felicia, so thank you very much. I want to respond to a few things.
Okay.
You see, anytime you point your finger at somebody, the rest is pointing at you. And as you know, me, I'm very blunt. I want to respond to some of the issues raised by Prof. Isley Preku. So we go into a meeting and people advocate that nutrition should be put under public health. You know, we have different levels of knowledge, you understand? The question is, when we had the opportunity to go into a meeting and have such a discussion, should we try to engage as a team so that we build consensus? Because usually, if we don't build that consensus, and you come there, you will say it with the way you understand it. If I happen to be at that meeting, I'll say it with the way I understand it. Then it will look like, oh, nutritionists are disagreeing with each other. So I think that it is very important that we create opportunities to engage and build consensus before we do some of this external engagement. It is the same thing with the whole issue of doctor of nutrition. You know, it's sometimes we are all here and everybody, we all have our small space we are developing. I personally, when this issue came up at the ANEC, I got up and I disagreed with it. So the point is that maybe the ANEC was a great opportunity for us to agree as nutritionists so that when we go and meet somebody who is not a nutritionist and we start having discussions around doctor of nutrition, we can deal with it. But you see, when we make comments like, and nutritionists were disagreeing with it, no. You see, it's just opinions. We all have our opinions, and people will disagree. So I think that let's try to build more consensus among ourselves, and then we can do that. Then in terms of raising membership, I don't want to repeat it. I think Prof. Preku made that point. I don't know if we have tried it because we have spoken a lot about getting the people, the students, when they're about to complete. Maybe we have tried it. If we have tried it and it hasn't worked, we need to ask ourselves, why didn't it work? And then maybe we can learn lessons from that. Yeah, I think those are the things. I have a few more comments which I have been typing in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Zaid. That was a great submission.
So
I think I want to continue from where you ended. Sometime last year, as a leader for the southern zone of Gand, my team, we engaged a number of student groups within the Accra enclave. We targeted both the industrial nutrition team to have a conversation with them and understand their perspective with respect to Gand and then other stuff. And what lingers in their mind is that I want to come out and get a job. Everybody is thinking of coming out to get a job. Most of them who are inclined towards the medical or health aspect, as they are taught in program, they focus on how to get clearance to be employed by Ministry of Health. And at every given point in time, what I kept on telling them was that nutrition span beyond just Ministry of Health. We are turning nutrition as into fire service or firefighting profession, where we are sitting down, the problems emanate, then we go fighting. Just in 2022, CGIAR came out with a study, which was collaborated by studies by IITA and then some other groups, that shows that 80.6% of the maize samples in Ghana contain aflatoxin. Now ask yourself these questions. How many of us in the nutrition practicing fraternity haven't advised mothers to give morikoko to their children? Haven't advised people to eat food that are maize-based foods? Have we looked at the aflatoxin component of it? We are all sitting there. We've left the aflatoxin management to only the AEs, Agric Extension Officers. Let's look around all those areas. So we are sitting there, the problem will be caused, and then they'll bring it to us. So even those of us who say we are public health, our job is to ensure that the people don't get the disease in the first place. But are we going beyond that limit? Okay. So there's still a whole chunk of things that we need to do. So with respect to this membership drive, I think that there are two levels of engagement I'm seeing that if we can try our best to move on, we can help. One, engagement with relevant institutions that have significant or major role to play in nutrition. So like I talked about the PPRSD, if Gand leadership can have an engagement with the Ministry of Agri and let them understand the role of nutrition when it comes to breeding of even seed, so that we'll begin looking at, right now, our major challenge in Ghana is not about the macronutrients. If we are now looking at micronutrients, that is our biggest problem when it comes to nutrition. Why can we look at breeding seeds that will have these micronutrient dense components, so that when they come out, even using it into production of food for people will even help improve their condition. Let's engage the Ministry of Agriculture so that we can begin pushing more of our people to certain areas like the PPRSD. I'm much passionate about it because I have tried and dealt with them, and I see the kind of things that are happening there. Now, let's get our people into the research institutions.
Bluetooth.
Let me land on this one. Let's get our people into the research institutions so that they can also help in these levels of engagement. We just need to get let's fold our sleeves and get our hands dirty. Let's get to the grounds and work together. We'll see how best we can change the narrative. If we do that, then the students will not be worrying themselves and thinking of getting employment with only Ministry of Health.
Okay, thank you very much. And Canada Nutrition Center. If you can unmute and speak. If I see you are dragging, I mean, we need the ideas are there, the passion is there, but let's try and be a bit brief.
Hi, good evening. This is Mrs. Mavis Asamoah PhD dietitian. I just wanted to add to what our president, Prince Bedu, was saying, and also to plead with the group that has been selected to work on the handy measures and the volumes. All I'm asking is that please, in doing so, if we decide that the standards across are not necessarily international or global, that maybe Ghana's portions are going to be different from the global, that we should add the global standards. In other words, if 25 or let's say 250 mils or 250 grams is the global standard, then we should make sure that we compare. So, because the reason why I'm saying that is we have locals and we also have expats who come into our country and into our sphere of practice. So it would be good to be able to make sure that our information transfers across internationally and globally, that we are on the same level. So whoever is coming in, whoever is going out, has the knowledge and the ability to be able to also perform based on the information we have available. And it'll make it easier because across all apps and across all knowledge bases, whether it's in Ghana or it's in Africa or it's in overseas, the information will still be applicable and usable. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you very much for that beautiful submission. I have Praise Prayer Code, then I come to Juliana Nyasodi. Okay, please.
Right, thank you for the opportunity again. I think I'll correct a bit of an impression about Gand and its engagement with other persons or other groups that are within the country as nutrition groups. Gand for many years have done what it takes to engage. And all decisions that are taken on behalf of the nutrition fraternity that Gand leads, we have stakeholder consultations on these matters. The Doctor of Nutrition discussion and all that, we've set up a whole country team, which Gand led that, which involved even the directors of nutrition, dietetics, everybody was brought on board to say his mind, and at the end of the day, something was created. So let's not have the impression that Gand doesn't engage. Gand engages, and for many times have tried many other groups that feels that they are nutritionists. Importantly, I think that the issues must be laid bare to the fact that nutrition, basically, everywhere you go, when it comes to membership in terms of whatever, are those who have had at least a degree in nutrition, not diploma in nutrition. But of course, Gand has even still extended its wings to cover all those groups. But unfortunately, some still feel that they have been long with another particular group. So breaking out is a problem. And they being in a place they label themselves as public health, best fit where they have been over the years. So let's not twist the evidence. The issues are that, yes, people have a certain vested interest that they have stayed with some people for a long time. And if they are leaving them, it is not going to be in their favor. But the fight we are fighting and where we want to place ourselves as nutritionists in Ghana, it's not about you and I. It's not about the dues you're going to pay somewhere, and therefore when you leave, it will be a problem. No, it is about charting a certain path that will position nutrition in the place it has to be. And that is where Gand comes in. Other than that, we would have just stayed as a Ghana Nutrition Association and Ghana Dietetics Association. No. We are Gand because we want to gather the right mass of people or right actors that are within the fraternity of nutrition space to drive the process of ensuring that Ghana has the right nutrition. And so maybe if Gand is doing something and people do not understand, it is the space for everyone to communicate. And importantly, we also tried from the beginning to bar any groups in Gand, people coming as groups into Gand. And that has also been one of the challenges, but it is the right decision that we had to take. That Gand, you enter with your professional qualification. If you're a nutritionist, you have your certificate, you come. And you have the full right like anybody. The only groups we are allowed in the fraternity is the fact that people are working in different disciplines. And I believe that when other disciplines also come in, we may at some point also have maybe a Gand research group, Gand so-and-so group. But they are all within the fraternity of working towards Gand. And we should be able to understand some of these dynamics and work within it. But Gand is about the individual attending and holding its space. And Gand is representing Ghana nutrition globally and everywhere, whether we like it or not. That is where we are now. We must be seen to join forces and ensure that this happens. I don't think, I've said so because I don't think dietetics workers of Ghana Health Service and dietetics workers of whatever, but dietetics came as a group, and that is why they are in, and their number is more than we do. I may be wrong, but that is the situation. It is only the nutrition fraternity that we wanted to come as different parts, and I don't even know the genesis of why people decided to form different nutrition groups whilst we had a nutrition group in the country. I don't know. Everybody has his own story as to it, but when we are doing things that progressively would put us where we are, I don't think that this is the time to trade who did what is right or who did what is wrong. But collectively, let's see how we can build on. Thank you.
Okay, so I think Sister Felicia, are you on? Other than that, we'll let Juliana speak. Julie?
Yes, okay, good afternoon to all of us. I'm Juliana Nyasoji from UHAS. So I think the submissions have been wonderful so far. So there have been a lot of talk on not really looking at Ghana Health Service as our endpoint for employment. But in terms of training, in our training institutions, are we training students to have the capacity or the ability to be able to work in these other institutions? So agric and nutrition and agric linkages and the other linkages as well. And then are we also fighting to get access to some of these institutions? So somebody mentioned like the agric fraternity, for instance. There are, I think, some coordinators who are advising women farmers on how to even utilize their produce to be able to feed their children properly. And these are not nutritionists or dietitians or whatever. So then we need to look at our training in the training institutions, make our students aware of all these other avenues, and not just making them aware, but access to these organizations, the assurity that would have that indeed when they master or when they solely get capacity in these other fields of nutrition, they will get employment in those other places. So for me, I think it is key. Training and then access to job opportunities in this institution. And then also, Prof talked about us permeating our environment. In terms of nutrition communication, I think we've left it to a number of people. How do we champion the narrative in terms of nutrition communication? I heard somebody talk about aflatoxin research. We've been doing that in the universities, but do we communicate to the populace? I mean, the ordinary people to even understand our research findings. So those are some of the things for me going forward. So I'll rest my case here, though I have a couple of things to talk.
All right, thank you very much. I would go to PD Agodo, then I come to Lutuf, and I'll take maybe two more and then we'll wrap up for the day. So PD Agodo, please, you have the floor.
All right, so good evening, colleagues.
Good evening.
So this is Percy, and I have listened to the conversation, in fact, very exciting conversation, and I am minded to respond, or not respond, to provide information to a couple of discussions. I'll try and keep it short. The last speaker, Madam Juliana, Dr. Juliana Nyasoji, was referring to training. So we recognized in the last administration, and I think Prof. Preku has really been very elaborate on that, that there are some deficits, I'm using the word deficit advisedly, in the way we are training our professionals. So by design, the nutrition programs in Ghana train people for two specific areas, the public health space, and then to some extent the food science space. And then the dietetic training in Ghana trains people directly for the hospital setting. So the people who are the graduates of our programs are leaning towards spaces that will give them direct, application of their jobs. But we all agree in this conversation that nutrition is beyond these areas. There is research, there is industry, there is all these special interest places, agri and all that. They're all climate change is another area that is coming up. So one of our proposed solutions to that was to do a harmonization of the training. And that is how the 6-year conversations came up. So that, especially because on the back of a bigger proposal from the world, the West African Health Organization, that was even proposing a 5-year harmonized training at the first degree level. And so we thought that if it's a 5-year program, and I'm speaking, I say we in a collective, because that document was designed by a team of experts, including heads of departments, training institutions, and professors, or most of our professors. So about 17 people altogether. So yes, there were opinions, but overall the consensus or the decision was that we will need to do something about the training. And The way to do that is also achieve two things. The harmonized training gives our future graduates and even current graduates who can go back and do a top up or anything the opportunity to have a blend of the two phases, called the two sides of the same coin, so that you have a competency level in the entry position, which is nutrition and dietetics. Look at it. I don't like using medicine as an example. So in medicine, the medical doctor who is graduating as an entry level house officer is exposed to ONG, is exposed to areas that fellow can now move in and build further expertise in. So the thinking was that we can use that model, which is already working in medicine, also working in lab now, working in optometry, in even pharmacy, to start a harmonized program that allows our practitioners in the future, both now, at least in the future, and the rest of us who are here already, could join in somewhat to gain the basic competency at the entry level. So then that was a proposed solution for training. And I want to just highlight again, Prof. Kweku mentioned it, that this decision was not taken out of the blue by Gand. Gand facilitated the engagement, and that brought together the experts which came to this conclusion that there's a way to go. And that is as against the possibility of having nutrition running as a component of public health. That is a discussion. The second thing I want to make comments on is the practice in the private space. So ignorance of the law is not an excuse, but unfortunately, the current law in Ghana suggests that if you want to practice as a nutritionist or a dietitian in Ghana, you need to have a license which is issued by the Allied Health Professions Council. It's just like if you want to drive in Ghana, you need a driver's license. I have a driver's license, but I'm not a professional driver. So people can have, if you want to practice nutrition or dietetics in Ghana, you need to have a license to do so. So even if you are in the public service, Ghana Health Service, or you are in the private service, or you are in the NGO world, by design of the law, you need to have that license to practice. Now, yes, people may not really appreciate why they should do CPDs and all that because nobody is chasing after you. But just like last week, somebody got the opportunity to work for the state, and all of a sudden her credentials is brought into question. Yes. So even if you don't have the credentials from outside of Ghana, do you have the license to practice? That was the question that were being raised. And I think that we should all take these things into context. We need, as professionals, to understand that you need a license to practice in Ghana by the very nature of the regulations or the laws of the country. And that is what is important to drum home. Thank you very much for the attention. Over.
Okay, thank you very much. And then I'll take Lutuf's hand last, and that would be probably the last submission for the evening. And then we can take a few notices and then we call it a day. So,
Okay.
Lutuf.
Thank you very much. I think Percy and the previous speaker mentioned some of the things. So largely, I go back to my original point, the one I made first. And I made this at the ANEC. We are a professional body. The council, Allied Health Professionals Council, is a regulator, so they have the legal backing and the power. I mean, I don't want to belittle the point because, you see, I don't know how many of us get involved in reviewing curriculums for the Allied Health Council. With all what we are saying and the content, the first question I was going to say, all these other sectors we are mentioning, is our content of training designed to cover that. So what we need to do, because they are new, even the same universities, maybe some of the people on this committee, in this meeting, they are teaching in departments that the curriculum have come to Allied Health. People have gone to review, and it is still the same old content. But we are aware of all these things that we could have taken advantage and incorporated into the curriculum. So whatever we do, we really need to hold the council very closely and at some point accountable. Are we aware that currently the council is in the process of getting, I hope I get the terminology right, like something like a harmonized curriculum, so that if tomorrow some university come and say we want to mount nutrition program, like a kind of minimum content, are we aware? And to what extent is Gand involved? What happens is that they call one or two people and then you come, you do it for them. But where is the broader consultation? Because something like that, the council should actually be working with the professional body to get that done, not to just go and call an individual to come and do it. And, you know, in all this too, our professors and those in the university can also help us. Even prior to that, you are aware of all these things. How are you incorporating that into your existing curriculum, or even when you get the opportunity to apply for reaccreditation? What is the content? The content we have here is basically designed for people to finish and start looking for work in the Ghana service or in some NGO. That is the content of the curriculum. Look, most of the curriculum, and that is why people are thinking in that way. So as we look at this, despite the fact that GTEC is raising concern about the 6-year doctor of nutrition or in any other program, my point is that we can still take the same content, reduce the amount of time. It will come back to 4 years. We are not going to be an expert. After all, it is an entry level. If you come out and you now decide to go and you are now Ghana service, you come and do a master's in public health. If you are in regulatory or whatever, you can go and develop yourself. So those are just the last bit. And I'll end by saying again that we really, really, really need to hold the council, work closely with them and hold them accountable. Because if we really go through the council, we can still get a lot of things fixed in the current state of things, just in terms of the operationalization of the law. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Lutuf. And Dr. Hayford, your hand was up, but it has dropped. So we are gradually coming to, in fact, we are at the end of the agenda for the day. A lot of issues have come up. There are some that we need to go back, sit together as a GB, and also probably engage widely for us to be able to get through with them. Dr. Hayford, you have the last say, then I'll go to my chair and then get some notices out there and we are done. Dr. Hayford, please, you have the floor. If you can make it very snappy for me, I'll be very, very happy.
Yes, so thank you very much. I think I was struggling to unmute. Yes, so thank you very much. And I must say that I have really, really enjoyed the discourse. Wonderful suggestions, wonderful contributions. And for me, I was going to keep quiet, but not to get crushed and then listen to us all. And I think that has been very fantastic. I would want to end on the call by the nutrition chair to work together, as both the nutrition and the dietetic group working together as one voice. And I think this has been echoed by my colleagues. What I'd also want to inform, to let the chair also know, is that over the years, we have implemented certain things and it's worked so well. So I would encourage that. So for instance, if there are specific things that maybe the dietetic group can actually assist the nutrition group, go around, we can help. So for instance, we have successfully been able to create WhatsApp groups, for instance, for our students who have just graduated and are actually waiting to write their licential exams. And in doing that, we've managed to safely or conveniently migrated them from these groups onto the main Gand group. And we've done it over the years. It's worked so well, and I would give credit to my predecessor, RD Hamda, for doing it, and we still are doing it. So if, for instance, you need any guidance as to how we did the mobilization, you can always reach out, and then we can help, to pass some of this knowledge. And And you know, when our former president mentioned that dietetics, we came in as a group. How did we mobilize ourselves? How did we go about some of these things? And I'm very sure that sometimes some of these things we can have some broader conversations to sort of learn from some of, I mean, how some of these things went about. And just to also to finally end, I would want to inform my brother who spoke before I'm speaking that yes, some of us are aware of the Allied Health Professions Council's plan to come up with some guidelines in terms of when it comes to the curriculum. So Gand is heavily involved in it. I can tell him because I know for a fact. And trust me, one of our aim or one of our proposal to Allied Health Profession Council would be that we form a broader consultation. So within even the Gand constituents, we have specialized groups within the concert. Those who are from academia, those who are from the industry. We would have to sit down and then look at the curriculum to make sure that whatever we propose, okay, it would be in such a way that when our students are trained, they will have the basic competency to be able to, go into some of these areas that we are all proposing that at least we should diversify. We shouldn't just be looking at either just the clinic or the Ghana Health Service. So these are things that is in the pipeline. Hopefully, we would reach out to people who we think can assist to make inputs, okay, into making sure that we would have a very harmonized curriculum at the same time in terms of the training. At the same time, that when our constituents, future trained nutritionists or dietitians come out, they would also have the basic competency to be able to function in all these various aspects of nutrition and dietetics. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Frank Hayford, for that beautiful submission and updates for us. So we are at the end of our business meeting today, and as you can clearly see, a lot of issues have come up. Now, just for us to understand the numbers, currently, the number of nutritionists in good standing with Gand is 90. Total Gand membership in terms of members in good standing, 268, 268. Out of that number, 90 are nutritionists and 178 are dietitians. So that is for our information. How can we increase this number? We just don't want to be members, but we want to be members in good standing. It will take me and you to do that. And as you can see, we have all alluded to that fact. All right, so I would want at this point to find out from the chair if he has anything to say so that we can get the notices across and then we can soundly land for the evening. Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, Felicia, for steering affairs up to this point. It looks like, I won't say I'm disappointed because the numbers where I was expecting more people to join than we had, looking at how many people registered just by yesterday. But nevertheless, like you already mentioned at the end, just fewer than the expected numbers are actually in good standing. Now, it is clear and obvious that the deliberations we've had so far points to the fact that there are so many issues when it comes to nutrition across the board. There are so many issues that have to come up for us to deliberate on. there's a lot of capacity that we have to build. And I think I alluded to that in the beginning. We have to build capacity. It involves training, not just in your training institution, the institution where you took up nutrition, but as a member of Gand, Gand has to further train you into specific areas of nutrition that will help you to function, to become a relevant, effective, and efficient nutrition professional, which is what we are talking about. All the things we have deliberated or pointed out earlier was just to build some relevance into our cadres, all of us who are members, to become effective and efficient. So I think we have brought bits and pieces of ideas together. We have started the process, and I think we'll continue. Obviously, the 2 hours we are having here is not enough. As you can see, if everybody actually came on board, you can imagine the kind of volumes of deliberations we would have had. But it's okay. It's a beginning. It's a start. All the issues that were raised, I'm telling you that they are just part of the beginnings. And once, as you get further and better, you will see also some of this will become harmonized, will come to roost. And that is what we are talking about. We're expecting that we all come down to one focus to forge nutrition. When they talk about nutrition in this country, and like we already know, nutrition is an all-encompassing subject. It's not limited to just the health. I mean, the Ministry of Health or the Ghana Health Service. It's a very encompassing subject, encompassing practice. And so when anybody talks about nutrition anywhere, we should be ready to jump to it, to do that. Once we inculcate that in our members, whether you are trained from your first degree or a second degree, and you also get a top up with what we are proposing as Gand, having an academy that will give you more CPDs and top ups, you're going to just become very, very effective. And then you can divide and, and make all the necessary things that when it comes to nutrition. You will not be myopic, you will not be one-sided. I personally think that we tend to be so, stiff-necked, stiff in one area. And that's why I keep telling us that we are nutritionists. So if you are a dietitian or nutrition professional, you should be able to cut across, not necessarily practice as either of them, but you should be able to understand issues that pertain to these areas, and we are together. If you need a service like my good friend, the dietitian, if you need any information or any relevant direction from the dietitians or dietetics people, you can call on them. They are all part of the reason. Look, like the doctors do, the medical officers, when they go to the hospital and somebody's in gynae, and he's talking about something, and there's a pediatrician or there's a pediatric issue, he quickly calls on his fellow friend who's a pediatrician, and they discuss. And then they move on. They're able to crack the issues and they move ahead. So we need to come to that point. And then I think when we get the opportunity, there will be more CPDs and treat all of us to be part of the ongoing series of CPDs that are coming. Personally, I don't want to see, I have said it, I don't want to have this specific dietetic specific, everything that we say is a CPD, whether you are a dietitian or you are a nutritionist, it is very important for you to be part of it. For instance, what we were doing was nutrition business, but you can see the dietitians who were in making contributions and suggest, and it's very beautiful. If we were to restrict ourselves to just nutritionists, you can just imagine the kind of things that will be lacking. So it's very important to have us together. I have always believed in that. It doesn't matter that you say this is nutrition, this is this. We are together. We should be together. If somebody has a perspective in one area, he will still come to terms with it. Now, looking ahead, I think that we have a lot of grounds to cover. And the president mentioned earlier, and he also reiterated that point. If we talk about Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the people there who are working in the area of Ministry, who have been trained with some aspects of nutrition, especially WEAD. You have heard of WEAD, Women in Agric, and most of them have nutrition backgrounds. They don't consider themselves as nutritionists, even though some of them are actually nutritionists. We need to bring them into our fraternity. But more to the point, we need nutritionists in that area. if there are no nutritionists in the weird or in Agmofa, they need to have in their unit nutritionists. We need to lobby for that to happen. If you go to a place like Netherlands, all the units, all the ministries, they have nutrition desks. We should have the same thing. Now, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Education in particular, every region, every district they should have a nutritionist, because the schools and the colleges and whatnot that are under ministry, they need to have nutrition. We need to go there. We need to have that conversation where nutritionists are placed. As we already said the other time, in Japan, that nutritionists and dietitians are found in all the schools, because that is very important. They see it as a very important aspect. We need to reiterate that. We need to advocate and let people understand. Nutrition is not eating food and eating and drinking water and going to the toilet. That's not nutrition. It's more than that. So we need to really emphasize a lot of these things so that we know that, look, we are talking this and it will come from your knowledge. That's why we need to build that capacity. And for me, going forward, I think we need to make it a point to build our capacity to infuse knowledge into our people, our members. I'm always ready to do that if I'm given the opportunity. Whatever knowledge I have, and I've been doing it. I'm sure most of you have been seeing my distributing issues on nutrition all over the place. And that is because I want people to ground themselves. You need to be grounded in what you profess so that you can be relevant. And that is what we want to do going forward. So in our next, whatever CPDs that are going to come, we should all endeavor. Don't say, oh, this is for dietitians, so I'm not coming. This is for nutritionists, I'm not part of it. No, we should all endeavor to be part of the CPDs. Very, very important. Fortunately, I hear most of the CPDs are going to be paid for. Not, you are not supposed to be paid. I don't know how far that has gone, but I'm sure that will be communicated to everybody. And so going that way, yes, we will all have to be part of our CPDs and learn and build ourselves, our capacity, so that we can be formidable, we can be relevant wherever we find ourselves. So I would like to thank each and every one of us who participated in this particular forum. It's been a pleasure, really been a pleasure. I believe that by the end of our tenure, Gand would have been a would have built itself, would have come to the point where we want to get it. If not, to a certain extent, to a certain notch, would have leveled up to a certain notch, so that the next incoming Gand board will also come and raise it up further to the glory of God.
Oh,
thank you very much. And over.
Thank you very much, Prof, for those concluding remarks. At this point, we were just around 80. The numbers have dropped to 53. We are 14 minutes past 6. I think it's a good time to be wrapping up. I would want to find out from PRO. PRO, are there any notices for us?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you for staying on for the CPD. Please, when you check the chat box, we have shared the attendance sheet link. Kindly fill it out for us. This announcement I'm going to give from the CPD chair. He is pleading with all of us who have been able to join the call to fill out the attendance sheets to smoothing the process of PIN renewal with Allied Health. Also, I've sent another link right now that with the CPD registration for this year, it is a one-time registration. You don't have to register numerous times. Once you do one registration, that link is what you use to join all the meetings that we are going to have throughout the year. And please kindly input. There are two major things that the link would ask of you: your full name and your email address. Please make sure that you have inputted the right email. As soon as you do that, a prompt will be sent to your inbox with a link. You use that link to join all the CPDs throughout the year. And please, the CPDs are free for everybody. It is just that because of the other things that have to be done during the the PIN renewal, etc. That is why it's been heavily subsidized for everybody. So until June 15th, if you are in good standing with Gand, you pay just 100 cedis for all the CPDs that you'll be attending. After 15th of June, the early bird price changes to 150. This announcement, like I said, is from the CPD chair. Please, let's help make his work very easy for him. There are people who sometimes join, they don't fill out the form. And then when it gets to the time when pins have to be renewed, then it becomes a lot of back and forth. Please double check for any information in your mail from Gand. Sometimes the message is sent, we don't check, and then we start complaining. We send all sorts of messages. Sometimes we are begging all of us. We are professionals. Let's make time. Let's make time to do the needful. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And also, please have shared all the Gand social media handles in the chat box. Please go and like and follow Gand so that when there is anything, we want the world to know about Gand, not just Ghanaians. Gradually, Ghana is beginning to appreciate Gand. So please, let's all go out there and share Gand. You can tag us in your post. If you do a story, if you share a recipe, if you do a short video, just tag Gand in it, and then we'll keep sharing each other's stories and the wonderful things we are doing in our small corners. Together, we will make Gand very great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, our PRO, Madam Pearl Salome, for the notice. From my end, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So from my end, I would want to also urge that do your best and join your zonal page, your zonal group. In the chat box, the links to the various zones have been posted there, and it is equally on the various platforms. Do well to join the zone that you are practicing in, okay? And if you have your colleagues that are not on the call or are not on the platform and you know them, just send them the link so they can also join and be part of this beautiful family. Also, I would also want to indicate that from the finance side, please, when you make payments, our dues for now is still 240 Ghana cedis. If it's your first time registering, then the registration fee is 10 cedis, so it is 250. But subsequent renewals is 240. And when you do payments to the Momo number or through our Paystack accounts, right, on the website. And then you send evidence of payment, because there are some of us that fill out the form on the Paystack, and you haven't indicated your name, your phone number. It's just the email address. And when we send you messages requesting for details, it takes forever to get a feedback. We publish names of payments done, and your name is omitted, and you may not understand. You would think it is coming from our end, but we would urge that we take time and fill out the details, our details correctly, and how we want it to appear in our publications so that it becomes seamless for all of us. So you take and send a screenshot to the WhatsApp line, and the WhatsApp line is for chatting. Currently, it's only the secretary or the secretariat that receives call on their phones, but for the financial phones, we don't receive calls on them. If you chat, it also helps us to track the messages, and then whichever we have missed, we can come back and respond to you. Once you send the evidence, please give us at least 24 hours to respond to you. Okay, so if you send and you haven't heard from us, It doesn't mean we have neglected you or we are not paying attention, but we are doing other things, combining it with the work of Gand. So it's quite a challenge, but then we are trying very much to be responsive as much as possible. So do give us some 24 hours to respond to you, and then we would have the needed information provided to you. So that is what I have now. Currently, the fee for CPD is 100 cedis. It ends, the 100 cedis offer ends 15th June. 15th June. Any payments after 15th June for members in good standing, it's 150 cedis. 150 cedis. So it would increase by 50 cedis. Now, if the time elapses and you have not made payments for CPDs, and you are going to make payments for members in good standing, it's going
Okay,
to
that's
be
fine.
30
So,
cedis
okay, so are they giving us support? We are looking for our support.
CPD points. 30 cedis per
Oh,
CPD point.
as we ask them.
And then,
okay.
Tony, we can hear you. Okay, so for members who are not in good standing or others who are or non-members, you would pay 50 cedis per CPD point. So let's take advantage of the offer and then subscribe on time so you can benefit from this hugely discounted CPD sessions for the year 2025-2026 calendar year for Gand. On this note, I would want to find out from Vice President if he has anything. Otherwise, we would call it a day. The number is currently at 46, 44 now, and I think we have overspent our time. Vice P, my co-moderator.
Okay, so thank you, Sister Felicia, for that wonderful moderation. I just want to say that I want to thank everybody for coming and the commitment we have put in place. Let's maintain the momentum and see how together we can make Ghana an enviable professional body in Ghana. So over.
All right, thank you very much. So together, how can we make Ghana an enviable professional body for Ghana and beyond? And lastly, as we go back home, the question I want to ask you is, how will you become an effective and efficient and relevant professional or nutritionist in Ghana? We can only do that if we have each other's welfare at heart, and then we work together collectively. But most importantly, it begins with you and it begins with me. To grow Gand, to populate Gand, it takes a collective effort. We want to thank you very much for your time this evening. We appreciate your patience. We appreciate your contributions. We have chronicled them down. We are going to do our best to see how much we can run with the issues that have come up, so that together, when we look back 20 years to come, we'll be proud that we were once pioneers of the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. On this note, I thank you all, and we will take a closing prayer from Sandra Ayisi Ado. Sandra Ayisi Ado, are you there? We would want to take a closing prayer from you. Okay, Sandra is not there. Right. Sophia, please, can you pray for us? Sophia is not also there. Hey, all right. Then lastly, I would go to Mabel. Mabel. Okay, Sandra, yes, please. Kindly give us.
Yes, I was unable to unmute. Sorry about that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so our Heavenly Father, we give you thanks and praise for this evening. We thank you for the opportunity to meet as a group. We thank you for all the deliberations. We know that in our own strength and might, we can do nothing, but with you, all things are possible. Therefore, we pray for strength. We pray for wisdom. We pray for your directions. We pray for unity as a group, that together we'll work together to make Gand an attractive body and one that is powerful and influential in this country, to change the nutrition state of everybody for the better. We give you the thanks and praise in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen. And thank you very much for praying for us. And so it was lovely having you on call. I wish I could see all your beautiful faces and handsome faces, but unfortunately, everybody's camera is off. Okay, so just don't go. Say hello to somebody, and then you can sign off. So Samuel, hello. Perpetua, hello. Sedinam, hello. And then who else can I say hello to? Jacinta.